So metacognitive learning strategies. So now we're actually going to talk about ways we can learn better. Like how can we improve this? And of course, this is adopted from Dr. Lane Morse and Dr. Sandra McGuire. So we just got done talking about Bloom's taxonomy, and we talked about that example where I asked you to look for the vowels, and then I asked you to say what the words were, right? And that's tricky, right? A lot of times people say things are tricky because you don't necessarily know what to study for, and that can be really difficult, right? What do you actually want to study for? So how do we work on that? So again, Bloom's, right? A lot of times what happens, and this is kind of the second level you get in college, past high school, maybe even after Gen Chem, right? You're asked to know a lot of things, but in OChem, we're going to ask you to apply and analyze things, and that's kind of the exam focus. So it's a little different. It's a higher level way of thinking. So what are some strategies? So metacognition, how have I said this before? Metacognition is understanding what you do and don't know. Right? A lot of times, usually my first exam in OChem 1, I will ask a question where at the point where I'll ask the student that they're taking the exam, what grade do you think you got on this? Right? So, and that helps me understand, like, this student, maybe you thought you were doing really well, you understood this material, but that wasn't the case. So where's that disconnect? So metacognition helps you figure out, do I really understand this or do I really not? Right? So before you get to that point of taking the exam and are, maybe have misunderstandings. Okay, I know you're going to work hard. I'm not questioning that, right? You want to do well. So the question is, what's the difference between studying versus learning? Right? Studying versus learning. What do you think there's a difference? So maybe I'll hit pause. So one of the differences, studying is short term. I think we mentioned that. Learning is long term. Right? Short term versus long term. Studying is memorizing information for an exam. Learning is when you understand and can apply it. Right? And we just got done talking about Bloom's, and that there'll probably you're going to need to know stuff about organic chemistry, but can you take those ideas and apply them to new situations or new things, right? So you still got to know things. I always it's not like you don't have to know things, but I'm really interested in how you think. One of the things I always do in questions is not about getting the right answer, right? I want to see how you think, right? And that's why we're doing this practice quiz. I want to see your thought process. You get points, you earn points by showing your work. Just putting the right answer will not get you full points, right? I want to see how you're thinking. Learning is what we do when I know I'm going to use the material later, right? Classic organic chemistry. When am I ever going to use this again, right? It's that critical thinking. One of the things I always try to think about, we're trying to become critical thinkers, right? You're given information. What can you deduce from that, right? What can you learn from that? What can you figure that out? And that's a skill that can be used in all sorts of fields, any type of thing, right? That's why I always think chemists can do anything. If you're a chemistry major, you could be the Pope. The Pope was a chemistry major. He was a chemistry teacher. You know that, right? Pope Francis, chemistry teacher. You could be Angela Merkel. She's a PhD in chemistry. She's a chancellor of Germany. It's that skills, right? It's those skills. How can you think, right? How can you take different things and apply that and be a critical thinker? So let's talk about specific strategies. So, right, strategy number 1, learn mode, not study mode. What does that mean? Quick poll question. Which task would you work harder for? Make an A on a test or teach the material to the class? So what does it mean to prepare to teach? Right, you kind of practice, but this is a different way of studying that you'd probably already do. But can you imagine practicing it to teach it, to talk it out or write it on a board, right? The problems, actually walk through it that way. When you do that kind of things, you'll find the gaps that you have misunderstandings. So study as if you'll be asked to teach it to the class. It'll change your perspective on making sure you really understand things versus knowing the right answer versus really understanding things, right? And obviously work in groups, taking turns explaining to each other. Have somebody sit there and be like, wait, what does this mean, right? That's a different way of studying versus going through and being like, oh, this is the right answer. But why is that the right answer? What were some misconceptions we have? Kind of asking those why questions. Study to teach, not to get a grade. Again, did it go for you guys or not? So again, study to teach, not to get a grade. But again, this is a way of still accomplishing that idea of the grade, but it's in a more efficient way. Right. So common illusions of knowing. Common illusions of knowing. I read the material a bunch of times, right? I read it and read it and read it, right? Solving problems while looking at examples, right? These are illusions of knowing, right? Who's ever done these kind of things? So the challenge would be, can you treat every practice problem as if it's an exam question? It is better to make mistakes during practice than on the exam, right? Challenge yourself, right? Challenge yourself, right? Reach out to me, right? You all did a wonderful job on those comments about the videos, like really astute comments of thinking about finding where you're missing some gaps in there, right? Right? Work on, those are the kind of things you do. Treat every problem as if it was an exam question, right? If you look at the key, right, I can look at the right answer and be like, oh, of course that's the right answer, and then I move on. I'm not saying you shouldn't look at the right answers, but if you look at the right answers, makes you understand why it's right, or why something you thought was wrong, right? You got to go back to those why questions. All right, active reading. So just some strategies, and this is from this book, right? Step 1, preview it. Right? Just take a look and see how long it's going to be. Take a look and see how there's figures, all those kind of things. Step 2, come up with questions the reading can answer, right? So the nice thing about our book is that it has questions built right in there, right? Step 3, paraphrasing one paragraph at a time. When you paraphrase a second paragraph, include information from both. Now, I'm not big on outlines, so maybe I'll disagree with this a little bit. I don't think this is the kind of class, organic chemistry is the kind of class where you should create a beautiful outline of each chapter. Right? I've actually already done it for you. I'm going to show you the learning objectives next. But what I want you to do is work problems. Organic chemistry is all about working on problems and then going maybe back to the text and finding where it's at. But if you want to just read our textbook, like, that's not going to be that helpful, I don't think. Right? Just reading it in real time will not be that helpful. Right? You got to work on problems and then go to the text to see where those problems are, where the answers are at for there. Right? Create tools, note cards, flashcards. Outlines are great. Concept maps are really good. What do you want to accomplish in your study session, right? So set yourself goals. So what does a focused study session look like, right? You set a goal, 1 to 2 minutes. This is what I want to accomplish. I want to accomplish this section of the book. I want to accomplish 3 problems. Study with focus. Hide your phone. Turn off the TV. No music. No distractions. Right? Turn your mail off. Take your account offline. Whatever you need to do. Like, focus. Set a timer, right? Organize, map, summarize, process, solve. 30 minutes. Don't push it more than that. Right? Don't push it more than that. Reward yourself. Take a break. Take a 5-minute break, not a 25-minute break, right? But trying to study these like epic, like, I shall now study for 5 hours and and I will learn it all. Like, this just doesn't work. And it's not going to work for this class, right? It will be really hard, right? And then you want to make sure after you take your break, review and go back over what you just learned. That's key, right? Review over and over again, right? Find those gaps or things, your misconceptions, and get them fixed. All right, so to summarize, effective metacognitive strategies. Learn mode, not study mode. Study as if you will have to teach. You'll still get the A. Actually, I'll guarantee you do better. If you think like this, you will do better. I promise you. Right? Avoid the illusions of knowing. Just because you worked for a long time doesn't mean you did efficient quality work, right? It's not about time. It's about the quality, right? We talked about this. If you're working on a problem for 10 or 15 minutes and you still don't get it, stop. Write down the problem, make a list, and send it to me. Right? Focus study sessions. Right? And get help. If you need help, come to see me. Get all the help you can. And then finally, this is the book. Did I lose it didn't show the book now, did it? Or is it behind? Here's the book, Teach Yourself How to Learn. I usually buy copies and I just give them away to people. So, I mean, it's like $6. I think you can get it on Amazon. It's awesome. This is by a chemist. She's a really excellent teacher, and I highly recommend it. That's where a lot of this thinking has come from.